Hi folks, and welcome to this week's edition of my Deer Quest Outdoor Adventures. On today's program, we're going to travel to Manitoba, Canada, where I'm going to be joined by one of my good hunting buddies, Buster Greenway. We're going to be the guests of King Buck Safaris, and we're going to try our hand at taking Canadian black bears with our bows. I tell you, it was a really exciting week, and I learned an awful lot about black bear. I think you'll enjoy today's program, so stick with us, and we'll be right back after this. Greg Hopfs' Deer Quest Outdoor Adventures is brought to you by Deer Quest Limited, makers of Deer Sense, the scent that smokes. Carter's Hunting Lodge, the Pike County, Illinois premier hunting location where whitetail hunting fantasies become whitetail hunting realities. Also brought to you by these fine sponsors. Nikon Sporting Optics, a better look at your world. Holly Caller Wildlife Calls and Accessories, quality products for today's modern sportsman. Light and Sights, producers of high-tech fluorescent optics. Easy Cut Ratchet Pruners, quality equipment for the sportsman. Odor Free, the original scent eliminator. Be silent, be still, be odor free. And Wind Tracker, the fibers that float to show you the direction of your scent. Don't guess, see the wind, and know for sure. This week I returned to Manitoba, Canada, along with my good hunting buddy, Buster Greenway, for part 2 of our Canadian black bear hunting trip. We were hunting with this man, Larry Lesushin, owner and operator of King Buck Safaris, a premier Canadian whitetail deer and bear hunting operation, with camps in both Manitoba and Saskatchewan. We were hunting from a warm and comfortable outcamp and enjoyed a great staff with Vanessa Lapka, our cook, and Roy Summer and Anthony Stodnick, our 2 other bear guides. Also joining us was Keith and Jason Heeg, who are our hunting companions for the week. If you tuned in last week, you saw me have an opportunity at a beautiful trophy class Manitoba black bear. At just 15.5 yards, I made the mistake of overconfidence combined with a lack of experience in hunting black bears, which cost me a dropped arm and a missed shot that should have been a given. The next morning, I had to humbly explain to Larry how I had blown an easy shot on that trophy bear. Now it was time for my good buddy Buster Greenway, the owner of Easy Cut Ratchet Pruners, to get his first sit for his bear. Now Buster has already taken several nice bears, and he had set his heart on a 400-pound plus bear or better, or he was willing to go home empty-handed. After parking the Argo, we had another quarter-mile walk into the new bait site, which had not yet been hunted this year. Upon arriving, Larry pointed out how the bears had ripped down small pine trees that he had wired up to conceal the stands. We also saw that 2 out of 3 barrels had been tipped over, and there was lots of fresh bear droppings to show that this was an active bait site. When preparing to wire up the pine trees once again to conceal the stands, Larry realized that the seat for Buster's stand was missing. And both Larry and I couldn't help laughing, knowing that poor Buster would have a 6-hour sit on a 4-by-4-inch pedestal.
Pick that 5-gallon pail up that I had beside the road. You know, and I forgot to pick that 5-gallon pail, and I was going to fit it right over top of it.
Well, you're telling me the bear took the seat. He's probably sitting out there on a seat somewhere.
Bear knocked all this down because I had everything tight with wire.
What is he gonna do with the seat? He's sitting on it out there in the booth. Can't believe the bear ate the seat. I still think the most amazing thing about this is the bear took my seat. I gotta stand up all afternoon. That bear's really enjoying it too.
After being on stand for about 3 hours, I spotted this bear coming out of the woods into the clearing behind Buster and I. As I watched this bear approaching, I didn't see the huge boar that came into the bait barrels. Unfortunately, Buster saw this great bear and tried to get my attention to videotape it, not knowing that I had my fixed camera running all the while, and that he could have actually shot this bear and it would have still been captured on videotape.
Hit the bait. Hit the bait.
As I finally turned around and got my handheld camera focused on this trophy-sized bruin, it walked back into the woods, never to be seen again.
Yes, it is.
Once again, I turned around to relocate the first bear I saw, which I now realized was a big sow, and who was closing the distance between her and our stand location very quickly. It's truly amazing how animals of this size and bigger can move without making a sound as they walk. Now, I've always been told that black bears have very poor eyesight, and that they are more curious than aggressive. But I was about to see just how close curiosity and poor eyesight would put Buster and I from this big sow. She actually began to climb the ladder, coming up our 12-foot platform stand. While Buster, a veteran bear hunter, had found the whole experience amusing, I must confess I was a tad concerned for a minute or two until she got off the ladder. After having got down off the ladder, the sow apparently was satisfied that Buster and I were not a threat to her, and she slowly began to meander towards the bait barrels. Once at the barrels, she laid down and began eating some grain morsels which were on the ground.
The other bear is a lot larger. We're gonna wait for a few minutes.
Buster and I watched the sow the rest of the evening, hoping that the big boar would show himself again. When it got too dark to video any longer, Buster announced it was time to get down.
Now the hard part of this, Greg, your job is to go down and run the sow off and not let the big boar attack you because he thinks that's his girlfriend. Okay? So you go right on down, turn the camera off, get that bear out of there, and see if you can get my chair back that they took last night. Thank you.
Hi folks, this week on Gear, Gadgets, and Gizmos, we're featuring the Argo. If you've never seen an Argo, it looks different from any all-terrain vehicle you've ever seen. The Argo is amphibious and all-terrain. It offers all-season versatility. It drives through swamps and bogs, and floats on lakes and ponds. And when the trail ends, your Argo will make its own trail. Argos come in 6 and 8-wheel versions and 6 different models, offering a variety of features and add-on options such as the tracks you've seen here. How do I spell adventure? A-R-G-O. For more information about the entire Argo ATV line, contact your local dealer or visit them on the World Wide Web at www.argoatv.com. Now it was our last night to hunt, and we began what would be a 14-mile Argo ride into a new bait location, at which we would have to put up portable tree stands for the evening's hunt. Buster would be the primary shooter as it was his turn, but he told me to bring my bow along in case he got a bear early, or if he decided to pass up the shot and offer it to me. Buster reminded me that he wanted a monster bear or nothing at all. Running a little late, Larry took the Argo on a shortcut across a huge swamp, making his own trail. Along the way, he stopped to show us one of the natural food sources used by the bears.
Here I've got a plant. It's called one of the berries that the bears eat here in the wild, in the moss, in the swamps. But this one isn't quite in full bloom. There's one right here that's just starting to blossom out. And what these plants do is they produce berries, and the bears feed on these berries in the swamps. Lots of times when you take a hunter out in a swamp like this, he figures, you know, that the outfitter isn't in his right mind when he takes the hunter out in this, but the bears do live out here.
Since this was the last evening to hunt, I told Buster that I would be willing to take any good bear, as I wanted to make up for my miss on my first night's hunt. Upon arriving at this brand new bait location, it was obvious from the sign that this was a very active bait.
This is another reason why I figured there's a big barrier when you hit a spot like this. This was another log that was soaking wet. And what the old mature bears will do is they'll rip the log apart because it's holding moisture. They'll rip it apart and they'll lay on it to keep themselves cool. This is one of the main reasons that I want to get a big boar on this. If I didn't see this, I'd say so-so.
It's the first time this bait's been hunted, so we're probably going to have a big bear come in tonight. So we need to get a couple of stands up and get us up. If this wind kind of lays down, I think we'll get a lot of action tonight.
We should, if the wind lays down, we should do all right. Like I said, this is a brand new bait just set up this spring, and for a new bait put up in the spring, there's a lot of action here in this bait.
How many miles back are we here?
Oh, back from where we left the vehicle, we're talking 11, probably talking 14 miles.
Without the Argo, we wouldn't be here.
No, that's right, without the Argo, we wouldn't be here. Yesterday we wrenched the quads out five times just to check the bait out, and there's no way the quads would make it anymore. You know, I had to go with the Argo.
Larry, Buster, and I worked hard to get our stands set up, and once settled into our stands, Buster took a practice draw and got ready for the evening sit.
This is our last day, the last afternoon of our bear hunt in Manitoba. We got a new bait here. Nobody's hunted before, and it's got a lot of big bear sign here. So hopefully we want to come in. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned. Here we're trying out these new turbo knocks. I've tried them before and they work real nice. Really easy. Stop your flight. You don't have to fledge your arrows anymore. And you get real good arrow flight on your broadheads. They're shooting like missiles real well. So we'll stand by and we'll see what comes and we'll see how they work out for us.
We'd only been in the new stands about an hour and a half when I spotted this bear headed in towards our bait site. While he wasn't a huge bear, like the ones we were hoping for, I knew he was a good bear, but I wasn't sure if Buster would take him or not. The bear tested the wind several times before circling downwind to approach the bait barrels. Since Buster and I were up over 18 feet in this setup, the bear had no idea we were there. Buster had gotten ready and watched the bear a couple of minutes before he told me that he was going to pass, and to take him if I wanted to. He didn't have to ask me twice. Buster took the handheld camera, and I picked up my bow. This time, I wouldn't drop my arm.
I'll take him, Buster.
A perfect double-lung pass-through shot, and my bear was down within 30 yards. As my bear ran into the brush, I thought about what a great week we had had, and how much I had learned about black bears, and also how lucky I was to have a friend like Buster Greenway. On Wednesday night, Jason had taken this bear for his first, and when Buster and I got back to camp, we found that Keith had also scored on his first bear on the last night of our hunt. Well, here we are. It's May the 11th. After 6 days of hunting up here in Manitoba with King Buck Safaris. And last night, on the very last night, I was fortunate enough to take this nice black bear. He's sure not the biggest one we've seen the whole week, but last night he was certainly big enough to take, and I made a shot and I got him. I'm just delighted as can be. I want to tell you what, coming up here to Manitoba with Larry at King Buck Safaris is just a great trip. If you're really thinking about it, folks, give Larry a call. We'll have the number on the bottom of the screen, and I'm sure that if you come up, your trip will be as enjoyable as mine. The important thing to remember is we saw bears every day, and there's lots of opportunity. You get treated well. When it comes to coming back or going back in the bush, it's amazing. Last night we were in 14 miles on an Argo, so you're going to get a good trip if you come up here with King Buck Safaris. Well, folks, there you have it. We had one heck of an exciting week up here in Manitoba. I hope you learned a little bit more about black bears. It's a great hunt, and if you're interested in doing a black bear hunt in Manitoba or Saskatchewan, please do yourself a favor, check the number at the bottom of the screen, give Larry a call at King Buck Safaris. He'll show you a great time. Believe you me, it's worth the trip. Thanks again. Hope to see you next week. Till then, be safe and good hunting. Greg Hopfs' Deer Quest Outdoor Adventures is brought to you by Deer Quest Limited, makers of Deer Sense, the scent that smokes. Carter's Hunting Lodge, the Pike County, Illinois premier hunting location where whitetail hunting fantasies become whitetail hunting realities. Also brought to you by these fine sponsors. Nikon Sporting Optics, a better look at your world. Holly Caller Wildlife Calls and Accessories, quality products for today's modern sportsman. Light and Sights, producers of high-tech fluorescent optics. Easy Cut Ratchet Pruners, quality equipment for the sportsman. Odor Free, the original scent eliminator. Be silent, be still, be odor free. And Wind Tracker, the fibers that float to show you the direction of your scent. Don't guess, see the wind, and know for sure. For more information about or to purchase products you've seen us use on today's program, or for comments and or suggestions about today's program, please visit us at our website, www.deerquest.com.